And in my classes, we work on joke writing every week. So that's part of using joke writing to teach students to write. And yeah, I have several degrees and have done a lot of studying of literature and rhetoric and even of comedy. So I love doing this, and I just want to do these live streams. So if people have one, if people have stuff they want to workshop to do that, but two, really to just teach, to sort of show my process and some of the things that I do as a joke writer. When I teach my college courses, each Thursday when we write, the writing days are sort of themed. They're built around different rhetorical devices and things like that, things that we can use to help stretch our writing muscles, and that's what we're going to do here. So today, we're going to focus on anaphora, and it's a pretty cool device. And if you see me looking away, it's because I have multiple cameras and devices going and stuff like that. But today we're going to think about the concept of anaphora, which is a really powerful rhetorical device. And yeah, I'm going to share my screen here so that I can write a little bit and you'll be able to see that. So hang with me as I uh, share this screen with y'all. I want to share my iPad in particular, and you can see what I'm writing here. So, all right, let's do this. All right, here we go. So today I'm thinking about the concept of anaphora. This is a great rhetorical device, as I said, and the point of anaphora really is to repeat, or the way that it works is to repeat um, uh, a phrase, a word or a phrase at the beginning of successive lines. So to repeat a word or phrase at the beginning of successive lines. And if you can get this idea of anaphora and use it, it's really powerful. And as I said, it can stretch your writing skills. So the idea is that you're going to say the same thing again, say the same thing again at the start of each line, and each time it kind of gets more powerful, more explosive. And this is helpful in any kind of writing, but also joke writing. Preachers use it a lot. You've definitely heard it. Maybe you just never knew the name for it. Um, Politicians use it a lot. Professors, writers, and comedians use it. Anaphora. So one of the most famous examples is Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream." Right? I have a dream, and he starts it for "I have a dream that." I have a dream that I have a dream that I have a dream that, and each time it builds, right? Another one that you've maybe heard is Churchill's "We Will Fight" speech. You know, like, we will fight on the beaches. We will fight in the blank. We will fight in the. We will fight on the. We will fight, and it keeps going, and it builds and builds and builds. It's pretty powerful. Um, Another example of anaphora is Charles Dickens. He has the famous it was it's very simple. Notice this. It was the and it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, it was the blank, it was the blank, it was the blank, it was the blank, and it keeps going on like this, right? Each time it builds. Now notice something about these aren't terribly sophisticated phrases. I have a dream. No, it's pretty simple. And then the sophistication tends to come afterward. We will fight. Not very sophisticated at all. It was the not at all sophisticated. And so these phrases tend to be very simple. And as I said, the sophistication comes after, right? The sophistication follows the anaphora. So I want you to hold this idea of anaphora in mind And we're going to come back to it in just a bit, but now I want to show you. I just want to like do some joke writing stuff. So we'll come back to anaphora in just a bit. But here's how a simple way that I teach students to write jokes. I got the Z method. So just draw a Z on the paper, and if you notice, there's essentially four sides to the Z, or 4 points: the top, the left, the right, the bottom. And up here, we're going to put our setup, right? So that's what the S signifies. Over here, we're going to have our assumptions. Over here, we're going to have a reinterpretation. And over here, we're going to have our punchline down at the bottom. So these 4 points, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the Z just helps break it up and divide it up. So this is a very, very simple way to go about writing jokes. And if you've ever seen any of Greg Dean's stuff, he has this is kind of a spin-off of what he's doing. I just made my own version that sort of works for myself, but his stuff's great. Go check out Greg Dean's books. Greg Dean puts on classes online and things like that too. But so this is one of the this isn't the only one I use, but it's one of the methods that I use to teach joke writing. Okay, so we have the setup. Now, first, even before the setup, we actually probably need a premise, and the premise is just what the joke is going to be about. All right, and I like to write about things that have happened in my own life so that they flow out of my own perspective and my own voice. Okay. Things that flow out of my own perspective and my own voice. So the real life events that happen to me, it makes it harder for people to steal jokes. And it's just more real life. Like it's real stuff that you're writing about. So none of this really premeditated, but I'm thinking about what has happened to me in the past week. I've been sick. I lost my voice this week. Um, so we could write a joke about that. My son crashed a car this week. We could write about that. Those are two things that have happened just in the last few days that that have really affected me. So I want to write about things that affect me, things that I'm emotional about, right? Because the jokes need emotion. All right, so I'm gonna just pick one of those. Um, I'm gonna do my son crashed the car. All right, so the premise is about my son crashing the car. So I'm gonna just convert that into a simple setup. Um, this week, my son crashed my car. So there's my setup. Simple. This week, my son crashed my car. All right, now here's the idea. So when we have a setup, we want to figure out what assumptions, when somebody reads that or particularly hears that, what assumptions are we leading them to form in their mind, right? So a big part of joke writing is you're leading your listeners to come up with assumptions. You want to get them to assume certain things, and then you're going to kind of reinterpret it and make them realize, oh, I was assuming wrong, right? So we have this week, my son crashed the car. What kind of assumptions then does that lead to? So here's step one, here's step two. Um, so this week, we just go word by word. This week means it was recent. Um, my son, well, that makes it seem like he's a teenager, probably because he's driving. Um, crashed. Crashed is a bad thing. And then my car. Um, so I could talk about what kind of it was a Ford Explorer. It was actually a police interceptor unit Ford Explorer. Um, So they're not going to be assuming that. I think this is probably now we're trying to find in the assumption what's the most likely thing that people are assuming, and I think they're going to think that crashed is bad, like, oh, this is a terrible thing that he crashed your car. So I'm going to go with that assumption, and then what I'm going to do is move to step 3 and reinterpret that. Well, if I'm just going to simply reinterpret it, is that how can the crash equal good? Okay. So then I can start listing different ways that a crash could be good. Now, I want to make this point that when I'm writing jokes and an idea comes in my mind, I quickly write it down. I try not to let anything escape. If I'm in the middle of an idea and something comes in, I write it down because if I don't, it's gone forever. So have that sort of like free flow stream of conscious when you're writing kind of thing, but try to get, if a thought is intrusive and invades, then write it down. um, so I'm thinking, in what ways could a crash be good? Well, maybe I hated the car. Maybe I wanted a new car. Now I'm gonna get one. Maybe I'm gonna get that insurance money. um, so these are some ways that a crash could be good. And then I'm thinking, let's keep going here. What else? And if I hit a wall, then I'll just start brainstorming, right? So um, thinking about the ways that crash could be good, or like what happened during the crash. He had a seatbelt on. Again, just whatever ideas are coming to mind. It doesn't have to be crash is good. Um, he had a seatbelt on. Uh, let's see. The no airbag. So airbag didn't deploy. No airbag deployment. Now that's interesting. I just got an idea here. What if we say the airbag um, came out? The airbag came out when I went to the car shop and was walking around the car. The lady was surprised that the airbag didn't come out. So was I. But now this raises an interesting issue. When you are writing or telling a joke, does it have to be historically factually true? Well, no, not always, and most of the time, not really. Don't let facts get in the way of a good joke, or history get in the way of a good joke necessarily. Now, you can have jokes that are historically and factually true, but don't let those facts and the history get in the way of writing a good joke. So you can flip things if it's going to help you write your joke. So I just got an idea here. The airbag. So immediately the airbag came out. All right. Now I'm gonna go with that. And so then I'm gonna go over here to the punchline. So um, this week my son crashed my car. Immediately the airbag came out. And this is just stupid. My wife hates when I call her that. All right. This gets to a principle, an important principle of joke writing for me, that I'm just trying to come up with something, right? That has a setup and a punchline. I'm just trying to come up with a joke. I'm not trying to come up with the world's funniest joke or a hilarious joke. That's not what I'm doing here. I can take what I have here now, and then I can modify it. I can edit it and make it stronger later. And there are a million ways that I can do that. But it's what I'm after here is just getting the start of a joke, right? Something that has a setup and punch. All right, so I have that. Um, and here's my joke so far, or my joke at this point. This week, My son crashed my car. Immediately, the I want to say old here, the old airbag came out. My wife, I used three dots to separate my setup from my punch. Here we go. My wife hates when I call her that. All right, that's rough as a joke, but it's a joke. This week, my son crashed my car. So the people in the audience, I'm leading them to visualize a car crash. Immediately, the old airbag popped out. Boom, they see that in their minds. My wife, maybe they're thinking now she rushed to help or she was scared. My wife hates when I call her that. Implied the old airbag, right? Um, so it's a decent joke, not absolutely hilarious, but I have something to work with. And that's the point. The process gave me something to work with. Now, what I can do is I can take this joke and start editing it and tweaking it. And one of the things that I want to do here is I want to see if I can go back to our rhetorical device of anaphora. Now, you remember King's I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream. Churchill's we will fight, we will fight, we will fight. And Dickens's it was the. So, what I want to do here is to try to fit this joke into the mold or the rhetorical shell, the rhetorical device of anaphora, right? This is a powerful, powerful rhetorical device. And this is hard to do when you've already got a joke set to try to fit it into a mold like this, right? So now I have to think about and brainstorm about how am I going to do this? How am I going to fit this joke that I already have into the mold of an afro? Um, well, let's see. This week, my son crashed my car. Immediately, the old airbag came out. My wife hates when I call her that. So, yeah, anaphora is that repetition at the beginning. I could go the direction here of um, talking about, I don't know, cars, just cars in general. Um, so I could do this. Hate, I hate dealing with cars. I uh, hate dealing with oops, I hate dealing with repairs. I don't know. So here I'm using the I hate dealing with, um, or I could just do, think about this. We could change it here. My wife hates dealing with being called an airbag. All right, that's not that good. But we can shorten it here and tighten it up. So let's see. Um, and again, this is my friend Mike. He has a book called and a podcast called something like working your funny muscle or flexing your funny muscle or something like that. You should check that out. It's on Amazon. It's really good, and his podcast is really good. But that's what we're really doing here. We're just trying to flex our funny muscle when we're writing jokes. And what I am doing here, I'm just editing, right? So I could just shorten this, tighten it up. I hate cars, right? I hate repairs. My wife hates being called an airbag, being called the old airbag. Now, what I could do is lengthen the first two to make them uh, equal, like more balanced in length. I hate cars. I hate repairs. My wife hates being called the old airbag, right? That could work. Again, not absolutely hilarious, but it's a joke. It's something to work with, and that's the point here. We're getting something to work with. So now we really have two jokes, right? Um, we have this one right here. This week, my son crashed the car, and immediately the old airbag popped out. My wife hates when I call her that. And then we just put it into a different form. I hate cars. I hate repairs. My wife hates being called the old airbag. Not a great joke, but um, I was forcing myself to try to use this rhetorical device, and it's a challenge to do that. Again, I could balance those out. I hate cars. I hate repairs. My wife hates being called the old airbag. Um, so I could do it like this since I have being called. So I could do something, use calling in the first two lines, right? I hate calling uh, to get cars repaired. I hate calling to get cars repaired. Or I could just say fixed. That's a little better. I hate calling to get cars fixed. And then I ah I hate calling uh, about car insurance. My wife hates being called the old airbag. That's a little bit tighter than the one up here. I hate cars. I hate repairs. My wife hates being called the old airbag. Maybe not tighter, but a little more balanced. I mean, I hate calling to get. I hate calling to get cars fixed. I hate calling about car insurance. My wife, my wife hates being called the old airbag. Right. So cool. We got a similar joke in three different forms here. Right. So that's pretty cool. Um, so again, one more time with these jokes. This week, my son crashed my car, and immediately the old airbag came out. My wife hates when I call her that. And then I hate cars. I hate repairs. My wife hates being called the old airbag. I don't really like that one, but it's a joke. I hate calling to get cars fixed. I hate calling about car insurance. My wife hates being called the old airbag. So there we go. This is just a simple way to use that simple joke writing method and a rhetorical device to come up with writing material. And we did all that um, in about 20 minutes. About 20 minutes. So you can use the Z method um, right here. You can use the Z method and then use specific rhetorical devices. In this case, we looked at anaphora, right? So um, each one of these episodes, the Joke Writers Lab live streams, will be themed and will be built around um, certain devices or different writing themes. And so I would encourage you to to check into these. And if you have premises that you want to workshop or a joke that you want to workshop, totally can help with that. You can do that live on here, can do that you can contact me, and we can talk about how to make that happen. But yeah, this is I'm stoked to get this first one under my belt. I had no idea even how to do the live streaming on YouTube, but it seems to have worked. And all right, if there's anybody out there with uh, any jokes or any premises, feel free to drop those in the comments, and we can work on them. Drop them in the live chat. We can work on them. But if there's nothing, then I'm probably just gonna wrap this up. And yeah, thanks for anyone who's watching, or whether it's live or after the fact. I appreciate that. Check out michaelhalcomb.live. I have a daily comedy blog on there, blogging about comedy pretty much every single day, twice a week. I have the Messed Up to Setups podcast, which is a comedy podcast. On some of those episodes, I do joke writing by myself, but most of the time I have a guest on, and we're workshopping jokes live, which is pretty cool. And would I think anybody who watches that can really benefit from it. Just pulling back the curtain and showing people what it's like for comedians to work together, which is pretty cool. Um, and I have two courses at the moment on Udemy that deal with joke writing, and you can go pick those up. And I have some other free resources over at michaelhalcomb.live that can help with your joke writing skills, like free joke writing prompts. Just go to michaelhalcomb.live, go under the socials tab, scroll all the way down to the Joke Writers Lab writing exercises, click the link, and boom, you open up to a suite of free resources. But um, all right, y'all, this has been fun. I am Michael Halcomb, and I am going to stop there and say I hope that helps.